Bless up, ABR family and viewers. Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, and Isabel Rose. And in this one, some very important topics at hand. After we seen Anju Holness basically went in our parliament for 5.5 hours, didn't address some critical issues that the Jamaican people wants to, hear from him. We're seeing the teacher himself, Damian Crawford, debunking all the lies that he came out and told. You understand? In which he spoke of economy and his administration has managed economy well and that there's fiscal space in our country and that good economy can nyam and all of that. Big up yourself, Major Daps. Right? And him come with a graph and he spoke of the 18.5 years. He keeps going back to the 18.5 years. For some reason, I don't know. If he has done so well as he stated in his 9 years, why not campaign on your 9 years of achievement? You come in constantly to talk about 18.5 years and talk about the 70s really not sitting well with the Jamaican people. And we, the younger generation, are not buying that. We want to hear about now. We're in 2025. What have you done from 2016 until now? That is what you're supposed to be speaking to our Jamaican people on. And so Damian come out and Damian spoke of what he basically left out in the whole graph what we have on the screen right here. So this is what he spoke on for over 5 hours, putting everybody to sleep. And Damian come and debunked all of it. Only fast forward now, out of every other else issue that he's supposed to come and speak on, out of the whole 10% tariff where the US government has placed on export, he's not speaking on that. They said that they're waiting for more clarity. I don't know what more clarity they're waiting on. Out of, this $30 million surgical equipment with him purchase, he's not speaking on that. He's not speaking on his uncertified declaration. He's still not speaking on why hasn't he basically spoken to the Integrity Commission of the millions and millions of dollars that was passing through accounts and passing through companies affiliated with his name. So he's trying to come now to distract us, and we will not get off those topics if that's what they're trying to do. We're not going to stop talking about these important issues at hand. Big up my sis Pat W, Sharon Bernard, Christine Gilbert. Big up to all the moderators. And big up to my members, Angela and Yvonne Wallace. We're not going to come off of, so if it's that's what he's trying to do, to get our minds off of what is currently happening now, and him still being uncertified, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen any at all. Also coming up in this, me I go bring on a back to what the People's National Party has done. So this is basically taking y'all back to what the People's National Party has done as it pertains to Jamaica's economy, and going step by step on this graph where Damian Crawford gave it to us in the simplest form as possible. Now him running out to come and say that the PNP must accept their economic legacy and that the Jamaica Labour Party are the ones who manage our economy well. Look like something wrong with him brain. Could it be that the water in the parliament mess with them brain? As well as, coming up in this live, a gentleman spoke to Conrad O'Brien and letting us know of why, Nationwide proceeded to take aim at PJ Patterson, taking aim at KD Knight. So I'm gonna bring those information to y'all. And many of us probably didn't know why he went after, those two gentlemen. But we know about the whole PJ Patterson and PJ Patterson suing him for the lies that he ran out back then and told. But we seen where him have him recruits them, Davis and all of them, running out as well, coming to speak on KD night at a People's National Party candidate presentation where his daughter, you know, was chosen as a candidate. And they're talking about, elders being sick, lame, and lazy, and forgot to mention Mike Henry in the same breath, who is sitting member of our parliament, who has not gone to parliament for much 10 years now and is still on the payroll collecting taxpayers' money. He was a part of the ones who got that 200 and 300% increase. So let me take y'all back. And on this graph, as you can see, it says August 1962 to February 1972. And it shows that during that time, the Jamaica Labour Party was in government and they had an annual inflation of 4.7%. The People's National Party took over the baton in 1972, October to October 1980, and that inflation went up by about 4.1, so it was 8.8%. Then in 1980 to 1989, the Jamaica Labour Party took over. The average annual inflation went up to 13.5%. And as you can look, you see February 1989 to September 2007, the total inflation that the Prime Minister was stuck on speaking about this 2,249.2% under the People's National Party, who was there for 18 and a half years. So if you're there for 18 and a half years, you would have it is still maintained a good annual average based on this 9-year span that the Jamaica Labour Party did. I wonder if you not see what I say. Let me put the cursor right there. So it's still the 18 and a half years that the People's National Party did. This 18.5% for the average annual inflation was still relatively good in my eyes based on the 9 years that they had it at 13.5%. If they had gotten another 19, they would have probably doubled it and brought it to 26 or 27%. You understand what I'm saying right there? But nevertheless, I am going to let y'all hear from no other than Portia Simpson Miller, who did very well back in her 4-year tenure, and the captain that was behind her while Portia Simpson Miller was balancing people's lives. We had Peter Phillips, and we have to give credit where credit is due. And this is the problem that this government has up until this day. They don't give credit where credit is due. The captain behind balancing the books were no other than Peter Phillips. And we have to give Peter Phillips that. Whether them want to speak about it, yes or no, we are gonna bring it once they come out with this one whole heap of facade and lies and trying to corrupt the minds of the young people or trying to control the minds of the young people to say that their government is better than a People's National Party's government where it concerns economy. We're gonna mash down that lies. We're gonna mash down them lies there. So let me play this for y'all to hear what was taking place when Portia Simpson Miller took over. Let me find that date right here. So she took over in 2011, and they got the total inflation at 28%. No, mistake, at 63.6%.
One Hardball Talk-Up channel.
My administration made every effort to protect the most vulnerable, even though we were faced with an economy about to collapse, no support from multilateral partners, high and unsustainable levels of national debt, mounting joblessness, and skyrocketing inflation, which is the worst tax on the poor people. My biggest concern is what effect this recklessness will have on the long-term health of the economy. After all, the sacrifices that the Jamaican people have made to achieve economic stability, the country cannot stand by and let this government squander the hard-won gains. I remember 2011 when the previous JLP government unilaterally abandoned the standby agreement without implementing the necessary reform measures to which they had agreed. Mr. Speaker, the consequences were devastating. Do you remember that our economy was closed off from access to the international financial markets and from multilateral and bilateral funding sources? Do you remember that we lacked the IMF seal of approval, which is a precondition for such financing? Do you remember that no one would lend Jamaica money at affordable rates and that our foreign reserves were dwindling? Do you remember that investor confidence had dried up? Do you remember the trust deficit? Jamaica was on the edge of a precipice. Jamaica was hanging by a thread. Many pundits had written us off. Mr. Speaker, many Jamaicans would not have known the extent to which we worked as a government to restore Jamaica's standing with the IMF and other international partners. I remember how utterly discouraging and at times embarrassing it was for us. There were those within the international financial community who felt that Jamaica should be allowed to fail. The actions of the previous government led them to believe that Jamaica could not be trusted. No one was willing to bank on Jamaica. Mr. Speaker, that is why it took my administration 1 year to get an agreement. 1 year. Once we had an agreement, many said we would not stay the course. I was described as too populist. Well, any politician that don't have some popularity did. Many said I did not have the guts to implement the tough measures required to fix Jamaica's economy. I don't know who wanted to test the strength of a woman. They said I would not use my political capital. Well, we proved all the naysayers wrong. We were determined to restore Jamaica's honor, dignity, and good name in the world. And Mr. Speaker, we did all of this in the interest of the Jamaican people.
Y'all heard that phone itself. They wanted to test the strength of a woman. It was the Portia Simpson Miller-led administration who rescued Jamaica's economy when a Jamaica Labour Party government wreck it. Every time them wreck it, a People's National Party come in power and fixed it. So what is this Prime Minister trying to do? Trying to win the minds of the young people by going back and telling lies and only focusing on one aspect of a table or one aspect of statistics or one aspect of data? It's not gonna work. But let me also play something from the captain himself who steered the ship. And we cannot give Sister P or Mama P the accolades and not give the accolades as well to a Peter Phillips.
Jamaicans, do you remember this?
Good evening. Over 2 years ago, we embarked on Jamaica's economic reform program, supported by a 4-year extended fund facility with the International Monetary Fund. Since then, we have had 7 quarterly reviews, and this week, the International Monetary Fund approved our successful completion of the 8th review. In the process of successfully passing these tests, we have rescued the economy from near collapse and earned the respect of our international partners. The country's finances are now in much better shape. We have reduced reliance on borrowing and have been able to achieve a reduction in interest rates, which gives investors access to cheaper capital. As we live more within our means, we have been spending less on imports. This means that we are able to save more of what we earn in foreign exchange earnings. This is shown in Jamaica's balance of payments deficit, which has improved from 13.4% of gross domestic product in 2011-2012 to 5.3% in 2014-2015. The lowest it has been in 2 decades. At the same time, as a result of our prudent management of the economy, our net international reserves, which were approximately $800 million and falling in 2013, have substantially increased and are now in excess of $2.4 billion. As the economy continues to improve, the prospects for employment are also improving. Since January 2012, the labor force has increased by 39,200, and the employed labor force has increased by 33,200. More Jamaicans are finding jobs. The rate of inflation continues to decline, and at the end of fiscal year 2014-15 was 4%, the lowest it has been in 48 years. By maintaining a competitive exchange rate, we have made our exports more competitive. In addition, Jamaica has become more attractive to foreign investors. For 2014, foreign direct investment amounted to approximately $700 million, the second highest in the English-speaking Caribbean. The economic reform program is on track. Despite these achievements, I am only too aware that many Jamaican families are still experiencing difficulties in making ends meet, and many of you still question whether our successes in reforming the economy have been worth the sacrifices made by our pensioners, our public sector workers, our taxpayers, and bondholders, and whether we are really on track to restore stability, growth, and competitiveness to the Jamaican economy. We need to remind ourselves that it was the unsustainable level of debt built up over 40 years that brought us to the brink of bankruptcy and made the economic reform program indispensable to our nation's survival. The country's survival became even more precarious in 2011 when the rupture in the relationship between the then government of Jamaica and the International Monetary Fund and our other development partners effectively closed the country from the capital markets of the world.
It was under a JLP administration where they kept failing. They were the ones who took us back. They were the ones who took us back. They were failing, so till them have to run away in total from the IMF. So can we deny the legacy of the People's National Party when it comes on to the economy? How can him take up and say him are the father of economy when him no know nothing about stabilizing economy? They always get the baton when it is good, and them always for some reason drive with economy down to the ground. You heard back then under the Portia Simpson Miller administration, they paid less for import. Under this government, they're paying up to 70% more for import. They might import more than all them export. And people want our goods all over the world. All over the world where you can find a Jamaican, we always try to support our country in buying back our goods. So what is he saying when there is no growth under this government? In the last quarter of last fiscal year, it was 0.8% growth. They coming out and was riding on the back, or they were riding on that return from the whole COVID and talking about 6% growth and this and that. And reality is hitting the ground now. They're speaking of the lowest unemployment rate, and they're calculating a man who work for even 1 hour as being employed. What can go so? What can really go so? But I'm gonna let you hear in more detailed form from the teacher himself, Damian Crawford. And it seems as if that this government is not learning any at all. No matter where him come out with, it's not sticking, so him go constantly coming out. As Dennis Daly say, him promise everybody Jamaica. Him go around and promise. And even after how much teeny years of being in office, he still has not fulfilled the mandate of the first 100 days. Coming out again to promise our people when he has been in the driver's seat for 9 years. He's supposed to be running on his achievement, but because there is none, he has to resort back to the past. The young people, them no want to hear what happened in the past. They want to hear what you have done in your 9 years tenure. So Damian Crawford spoke in the Senate, and Damian Crawford continued on this very same graph that he spoke on, but he was stuck on the 18.5 years, but Crawford brought it a little further and gave the Jamaican people more clarity. Hear this.
I title this conversation Truth and Democracy because, Mr. President, the government's debate has been shrouded in lies and fake news. There are indeed different types of lies. There's a stretch of the truth to make something sound bigger or better. That is called an exaggeration. There's omission, leaving out information, important information, so as to mislead. There's also refusing to admit the truth, even when confronted with evidence. That's called denial. There's fabrication, making up completely false information. Misleading statements, which is statements with the intent to deceive. Blame shifting, lying to avoid responsibility by blaming others. And gaslighting, manipulating someone to doubt their memory or perception. I hope that as of Monday, you can use any of these analyses to tell what types of lies are being told to you or have been told in this entire budgetary process. Mr. President, it is upon us that we are called not just to know the truth, but to stand for it. As children of light, we must mash down lies wherever they rise. For what fellowship hath light with darkness? Indeed, they said love and hate can never be friends. Mr. President, the JLP's entire communication is dependent on one statement that the Prime Minister made, and I quote, he said, "There are several generations of young people who do not know our modern history. There are generations of middle-aged and older people who have forgotten." The JLP is dependent on the youth who might not have known and the older individuals who might have forgotten. Indeed, Mr. President, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And the JLP has the heart to mislead, the heart to deceive, the heart to misinform, the heart to misrepresent, the heart to hoodwink, and the heart to hold to power at any cost. I'm sad that a friend of mine is leaving because that heart has been exhibiting itself on their platforms. Persons who are friends of mine, my mother asks me sometimes, how do you choose your friends? Have been calling my name in the most way on radio and on the platform. I said, Delano Seabright, Senator Seabright, a friend as well. And by the way, Senator Seabright is the one who started the rumor about shelling down London with Jamaica money. Can you believe that? I was in London presenting an academic paper. They wouldn't understand that because they're not academics. Paid for by the conference. And a friend of mine started a rumor that I was there shelling down England. But I forgave him.
Of course, because you're a forgiving.
Because when his travel came across my decks in his early times, I could have taken revenge. Because the truth was worse than the lies. But power don't lie in anger. It lies in knowing you could have done it and not doing it. Their mouths, Mr. Speaker, have revealed what their masks have tried to hide. No matter how well you pretend, your words will tell the truth about you. The first set of lies that would have been established would have been along the lines of inflation. And in this case, there is students, I want you to look, there's a line there called total inflation, which is the addition of all the years of inflation. It was put there to indicate that there was a period of PMP governance that had such a large level of inflation that it was 2,249. They failed to acknowledge this was the longest term that any government has ever served. And so therefore, over 18 years, they sought to compare with 4 years. And therefore, the accumulated level of total inflation was an unnecessary segment in this table. The average annual inflation speaks where it speaks to 18. The Prime Minister made heavy weather of this 2000, not indicating the period of time, and sought to also compare Jamaica's reality with the United States reality. Before I indicate the reasons why this is not an adequate comparison, even the numbers that they have presented suggest that there are multiple times that the JLP was worse than the PMP. Now look at February 1989 to September 2007. This is the exact presentation from Mr. Prime Minister Anju Holness, Dr. Anju Holness. If you look at the 89 to 2007, 18 and a half years that the PMP was in power, the average annual inflation was 18.5%. In the United States, for which he was seeking to make heavy weather, it was 2.9%. That's almost 6.3 times what existed in the United States. But he failed to have done sufficient analysis to recognize that in September 2007 to December 2011, which was the JLP, they were at 12.3% in relative to the United States, 1.5%. That's 8.2 times what was in the United States. So therefore, if it is that relativity was supposed to be used, the JLP in 2007 to 2011 was 8.2 times inflation in the United States. However, the PMP was 6 times inflation in the United States. However, for the knowledge of our students, I'd like them to know that even that was a false analysis. There was no real basis to utilize the United States in comparison with Jamaica. An appropriate comparison would have been other Caribbean islands, because the United States don't have the same realities that we face. But there's even more information in the slides that the Prime Minister presented. In the slides that the Prime Minister presented, it proved that he had the worst performance since he got the baton. Indeed, in 2002, 2007, the inflation was 18.5% on average. The Bruce Golding government received the baton and reduced it by 6.2 percentage points and carried it down to 12.3%. The Portia Simpson Miller government got it and reduced it by 6 percentage points and carried it down to 6.3%. Anju Holness got it and carried it down to 5.5, a reduction of less than 1 percentage point. So he's making a big deal about, look how me fast, when it's just that he got a good batter. Prime Minister Bruce Golding reduced it by 6 percentage points. Prime Minister Portia Simpson reduced it by a further 6 percentage points. Yet they tried to convince us that the best Prime Minister we have ever seen reduced it by less than 1 percentage points.
Sorry about that, family. So, what Anju Holness failed to say of the graph he presented was all that Damian said in a nutshell. He got the average annual inflation from the People's National Party February 2016 at 6.3%. And all he brought it down to was 5.5, not even 1%. So what is he talking about? Not even 1%. So him get a good baton. Him get a good baton. So what is he talking about? What is he talking about? We would love to hear about this unexplained movement of millions of dollars among his connected companies that was outlined in the Integrity Commission's report of his finance. He has yet to give that information to the Integrity Commission. And we now come off him with his uncertified statutory declaration. And we now come off of him with the cloud of illicit enrichment and all these millions and millions of dollars that he cannot explain. That is what we're going to drive home. This is what we're going to drive home so the young people them can understand what is going on as it pertains to this Prime Minister. We will not be fooled. We've seen him run out now coming to promise the people of Mandeville talking about he's gonna build new park. That him saying now, he's gonna build new park in Mandeville. And the mayor reject the proposal for that new park. And we know who the mayor is. And so the mayor rejects the whole proposal for new park or the promise for new park. Because it was the very same Prime Minister, and I want to see this, who announced construction of school to train dancehall reggae musicians. And this was back in October of 2022. And all know that the school under his government, he has not built not even one school. Zero, nada, nilch, nil. No school him no build. Not even one. So the people them no want no park, the people them no want no 3-story market where you say you go build up over St. Mary and all know them they can't break ground. Them a break ground but nothing. After them done break the ground or them make the promises, it's stuck right there. So it's like them do the things in their mind and leave it there so. The people them tired of the promises. Them no want to hear about no promises. So you coming out to telling us that under Jamaica Labour Party government, they manage economy well. And under your government, food prices skyrocketed. The people them cannot afford it. Cannot afford it. And what the man call him out and say him for come down now. Because him run out in 2015 trying to shame Mama P. And him run out with a 2015 basket. And compared from them time till now, where you could have get for 4,000 and get a good amount of stuff, you cannot get it right now. You can't eat the basket alone. Cost so much thin money. And the man purchased 5,000 odd worth of goods. And him still not get no seasoning. A 4 pound of meat alone him could have buy. I don't know what kind of meat. I'm assuming chicken and something else cheaper. In the same breath, he's not speaking on this 30 million surgical equipment that Dawes is basically calling them out about. Alfred Dawes wants to know why a surgical drill cost the government $31 million when they could have gotten it for $5 million. These are some things that we need to hear. We need them to come and speak about. The health minister is still away. He's returning to the island on the 16th of April. Right? And we have learned of recent that it was partnership he went to pursue in the Philippines as it pertains to staffing of our hospitals. But staff in the hospital alone is not enough when they don't have the equipment and the resources to work with. Sending away the Cubans, and they still didn't give us a clear understanding as to why. they're talking about expired memorandum of understanding. And the minister has gone on a trip, and is when the People's National Party spoke out that we could hear that it was some partnership that they went about. So they're willing to send away the Cubans who have been, serving us for decades, to bring in the Philippines amongst other nation of medical personnel. But they still haven't explained, and Dr. Dawes had raised this in the People's National Party press conference of this $30 million surgical drill that they could have paid $5 million for. So they now manage the economy and they now manage the books. Because how do they explain something like this? They're wasting our money. And when they hear plan to feed our students, to feed the children them 1 meal in school, they must say it can't work. But when you have 26 million extra paying for equipment, one, and we have hospitals without CT scan machines, and our cancer patients and other patients are not privileged to get a CT scan done. They have to have up them 100 and 1,000 to get that done. While they say money is not the issue, and we know that it takes cash to cure, them collect how much thing surplus. The Ministry of Health alone get double what was used back in the People's National Party time. They said that they use 60 billion, and this government said them double it up to 140. And we not see where them double it and do, because they say 685 million out of that is unaccounted for. Unaccounted for. They can't give us a reason as to, they can't show us, give us evidence of how the money was spent. Them say the money spent over administrations. But if it's a 10-year span, then the only 1 year out of it would have been the responsibility of a People's National Party. What of the 9 years? What them do with the money? So if them have the money and it takes cash to cure and they're not doing it and them have the money, that means that them not really care about it. They don't care. The infrastructure of the country has ran straight down. The health in a crisis. And we the people are not fools. We see what is going on. And when we take our platform and we enlighten the people, we hear say we are tell lie upon the government. We hear say we are spread propaganda. And if only the people just take the time to listen to us and to do them local research for themselves. And even if you can't read, you beg somebody read it for you and break it down in the simplest form so you can understand. And stop running behind the Prime Minister, and when people come talk, they come in defense and want to bully. And want to come beat you for the Prime Minister. They want to fight you and beat you off for the Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister feel the prosperity when him speak of. Him feel the prosperity. He is the one feeling the prosperity. When you notice, say nationwide don't take up the whole Cuss that's going on in Western Westmoreland. But if it was, we're really seeing as they go by, as the time goes by, that they're really politically aligned and not doing no farmer journalism work without fear or favor. And I'm about to play a recording, and then you will understand the magnitude of why they went after KD Knight and why they are going after. Each time PJ Patterson comes out, they're going after PJ Patterson. And they cannot deny, no matter how them try, they cannot deny that PJ Patterson has played an indelible mark in where Jamaica is at today. Indelible mark. And so they will not highlight whatever is going on in the Jamaica Labour Party, but they will quick to highlight and quick to jump on whatever they hear without even doing any research behind it as it pertains to the People's National Party. When you notice that them and the Observer hush on the whole Cuss we are going in a Westmoreland. But we're seeing them taking jabs at our senior citizens. And oftentimes when there's an election, we're seeing supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party go for the senior citizens them out of them house. I get vehicles and bring them. And I said it before and I will continue to say it. No senior citizen, after what they did, must not vote for a Jamaica Labour Party representative. No senior citizen must not make that mistake and vote for them. Because we're seeing George Davis coming out to say that the senior citizens, well, he's basically talking about KD Knight and Mr. Pickersgill, who went in support of the party that they are a part of and went in support of his daughter, who is a candidate for the People's National Party, and talking about sick, lame, and lazy. But he forgot to speak on Mike Henry. And many others of them were in the Jamaica Labour Party currently right now, who are basically dinosaur in the thing. They have been in Parliament for much in decades. And it's like they don't plan to step away. But I'm gonna give you this video where a gentleman spoke out on Conrad O'Brien's program and letting us know why the bitter blood against the People's National Party coming from nationwide.
So I can understand when they come up, I can understand when Nationwide came out and criticized PJ Patterson. Mm-hmm. And when KD Knight go to his daughter campaign launch, you know, when they present her to be the candidate. Mm-hmm. All right. I know why Nationwide criticized KD Knight. And a lot of people in Jamaica maybe don't know it. That KD Knight, PJ Patterson, Nationwide have some personal vendetta against those two men. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to remind Jamaica why. There was a plane coming from Cuba. I think some digital people was on the flight. They got to do business. Yes. And PJ Patterson happened to be on the flight. And it happened that Cliffy was here, the argument, and him run like when a man run from beating and run come out contacts of PJ Patterson carrying illegal money from Cuba. From a Jamaica. Right? Yes. And PJ lick a lawsuit on them. Mm-hmm. Cost them millions of dollars.
Yeah, I think between $12 and $15 million, yes. I was told.
And they have to pay up because they were lying and tell lie on the man. So them have up the PNP and have up PJ Patterson from that. Mm-hmm. 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 Guess who was the liar on the case?
Tell me.
KD Knight.
Oh.
And KD Knight bruised them up.
Okay.
And you know who was one of the witnesses in the case?
Oh.
Emily Crooks and PJ Patan and KD Knight. Nasty up. The two of them nasty up Cliff Hughes. Emily Crooks.
So when you say a feelings them a carry?
A feelings. So if you notice what Cliff Hughes, they get some little boy, we not even know, them never even know nothing what go on. Enough of them did all that school and certain things did go on back in the years.
But history there, so them can go revisit history and find out the truth.
You understand? So then get them on, if you notice everything. All right, notice your station. You come with one opinion, you have Marlon with opinion, different opinion. You notice our communication group, there are people with different opinions.
Yes.
You notice down Bradley Avenue, the whole of them.
Boy, them said that somebody a text me and say, boy, you have to do a test before you get to work there, and you have to declare certain things.
Sure, you lean over the green side before you can get that work.
But rub for me, Marsha, because we have others.
Yes, so there are some personal feelings. So when you hear them come and lick in the PNP, I vex them back, but I don't want to put money with them as spend because then touch the wrong one. Now, there's not all right, you said it this morning already. When you talk about whole people and them think they're them like this, them never remember, you know. They never remember say, Mike Henry, them have a holy man to take time lead him. On the platform over that, and I still member of parliament.
So when you hear that ABR family, I knew of the whole PJ Patterson suing them, but I didn't know who was the lawyer on the case. No wonder why they ran out on KD Knight. So that's the reason, because KD was PJ's lawyer. And because KD handled the case so well and they had to pay up millions, that is why they might carry the belly. That is why they are carrying the belly for People's National Party. And here in the latter part, the gentleman say, when you get work over that radio station, you have to be leaning towards that political side. Because if you not lean towards a side there, you not get the work. You're not going to get the work. So you see, when it pertains to the Jamaica Labour Party, they are mum on certain things. They only spin the narrative just to make it look good for this government. They're not going to come out and question him about his uncertified statutory declaration. They're not going to come out and question him on him taking the Integrity Commission to court. They're not coming to question him of his, investigation as it pertains to illicit enrichment, and them not question the other 7. Them not go question those things, none at all. Because as we seen, and no wonder why them so butthurt when Mark Golding went over New York there and he said, the mainstream media, more than half of them not working as children. They are bought and paid for. Bought and paid for. So that sums it up why we see them behaving like that. But nevertheless, when you see the orange wave going over St. Mary, it was a good turnout for Omar Newell. And I shown a little part of it. And no matter how them talk and go on, the people them still love the star boy, KD Knight. The people them still speaking of the People's National Party. The people them still gonna give the People's National Party them support. So those trivial things that they're coming with, trying to tear down the senior citizens, it's not gonna work. And I hope every senior citizen open their eyes and look at what they're doing. They're making fun of uno. But look at the turnout for Omar Newell over there in St. Mary.
Work for you and building on the legacy of our forefathers, Norman Manley, Michael Manley, Portia Simpson Miller, PJ Patterson, Dr. Peter Phillips, and Mark Jefferson Goldie. We are here to do the work for you, comrades, and I want you to work with us. Work with Omar in Central St. Mary to ensure that we secure victory, because the next gentleman of party alone didn't know. And what we need is somebody in the community trust. We need a representative who is trusted and know the business community trusted. We know him from school days, right? So we know Omar from a little and so I want you to continue to do well with Newell in Central St. Mary, comrades. The word is done.
Yeah! What you call me, little follower? Big up Johannesburg! Comrades, we are in Central St. Mary, the PMP bastion in St. Mary. Central St. Mary, I want to bring to you a man who done lick up, then knock him down.
When you see the turnout, that keep them on the edge of them seat. That's what's ruffling their feathers. Y'all see the turnout? But the more them fight, the stronger the People's National Party get.
Somebody praise God. Not trouble, not trouble, man of God, not trouble the church. I tell Jamaica, here I trouble the church. Yes, sir. Here I in a trouble. Yeah. Persecute the church, lock up the church, and I preach here. Go after Peter, Mark Stewart. Preach on, prophet. And think it was over, and think it did a go so. Touch them and say, nah, go so. Paul who hold you down, tie you down, jail you up, accuse you, set you up, be nah, go so. Reverse the order, back to the sender.
So them run out pan KD and the order was reversed. We dig up Mike Henry file pan them. So them have a quote. Them can't stop the orange wave we are going over St. Mary. Them can't stop the orange wave we are going over the island. But nevertheless, ABR family, I'm so sorry I'm not gonna get for calling or anything like that. But while on the way out, please to like and share out the video. I just seen a notification from the renegade lonesome himself. He's coming to break some story as it pertains to this Perdix chicken. And he's basically saying that the chicken container spot is a cocaine to Haiti spot in Portmore. So I really want to go and hear his findings on that. So I'm going to send him over there as well to go over Wayne Lonesome, Reggae Dub Scene, and give the support nevertheless. So thanks each and everyone for watching. Thanks for the continued support at all times. Big up to all my moderators. Big up to the members of the ABR membership. When you can join the membership too. Only a small fee per month to be a member. And thanks for all those who participated in this live, who participated in the chat. I wanted to hear some of your takes, but maybe on our next live. As me say, Lonesome is about to break some story. And I said it in the video that I did, where I said persons were speculating of this whole drugs and all of that. And his life should be interesting. So, in the meantime, ABR family, thanks for the continued support again. For those who always donate into the channel, thank you. For those who send super chat, super thanks, thank you nevertheless. But stay tuned for more videos. Stay tuned for more updates. Over Lonesome way ahead.
Where they come from, send him up, send him up. Every evil arrow, Anywhere he come from, send me back. If a China, if a Jamaica, if a Haiti, where he come from, we send me back.
Like and share, people.
Reverse the curse. Reverse the curse. Reverse the order. Reverse the curse. Reverse the order. Somebody said, reverse the curse. Yeah. Reverse the order. Somebody reverse the curse. Aye. Reverse the order. Over Jamaica. Come from.
The two Mark Golding, Sispat W take over Jamaica by storm. And that I worry them. Mark Stewart and Mark Jefferson Golding. While in the march out to the live people, please to like and share.
If a China, if a Jamaica, if a Haiti, where he come from, we send it back. Turn, reverse the curse, reverse the curse, reverse the order, reverse the curse, reverse the order. Somebody said, reverse the curse, yeah, reverse the order. Somebody reverse the curse, aye, reverse the order. Over Jamaica, reverse the curse, mighty God, reverse the order. If a king's host, if a garden host, if a the prime minister,
we are sending them back. Stay tuned, ABR family. Big up on yourself. Much love. Happy Monday.